All right, and we're back. So you make good money. So why does it still feel tight? Where does that money go? You may have gotten promoted. You may have gone through stuff in your life and pushed through things and put yourself in a place where you're making six figures, well over that maybe, and you're doing well. And maybe you'll have kids at this point. Maybe you don't want to have kids. You want to travel and do more things. And all that comes together and creates this kind of vortex. And money comes in, money leaves, and rinse and repeat over and over. And nothing really turns into lasting wealth, into something that can be eventually lived upon, passed down, whatever it may be. I don't know what people want to do, right? Everyone has their own things. But I'm looking at so many people who have all this money they're making and the money just goes out. Maybe they have student loans, maybe they have things that are coming up. And why does it feel so tight? Well, yeah, the economy is for one. The way that inflation has risen over the years and people's wages haven't kept up. The, the average salary now is creating a lot less income for people when you look at how high the cost of goods have gotten. And what's happening is you have this economy, but you also have lifestyle creep. You have leaks in cash flow, and you have these spending patterns that are coming up. And so what I do is I look at everything and I say, okay, lifestyle creep, what is that? Where do we see it? Well, lifestyle creep shows up when we get that promotion, when we get an increase in our wage or whatever happens. We sign a new big client and we get that voice in our head that says, hey, okay, now I can afford X, Y, and Z. When buying certain things at certain points in your life is great, but buying depreciating assets like a car is incredibly stupid. Unless you have, $1 million easily to spend, uh, buying a car like that just really doesn't make any sense. You will see it in things with people's cash flow. Well, one of the things we look at is how much of your debt payments is going towards how much of your income is going towards debt payments. And in doing that, the typical number, 30% of gross income, any more than that, and that's, you're pushing into a realm that's kind of dangerous because less money to spend on groceries and other things like that. And a lot of times, it, having a bunch of debt isn't going to help. But what about those cash flow leaks? What about those subscriptions that we don't use? What about that hmm, second car that you don't use? You ever? A lot of people have two cars, right? I'm originally from New York, where a lot of people drive one car. Two cars is a lot. Uh, but if you're in the suburbs as well, like I'm in Connecticut now, maybe having two cars is necessary. Maybe it isn't. And those are certain cash flow leaks that people uh, can take a look at and just understand if there's those glaring leaks in your plan, in your cash flow analysis, then that's something that's got to be plugged. Or if you can afford it, great. But finally, the last thing that I see in terms of where all that money goes is these spending patterns that we don't really notice. I'll give you an example. When I take my kids to to their activities in the evening, there may be something that I stop and buy all the time, or tempted to buy all the time. Maybe it's, uh, you know, the next great floaties for the swimming pool, the next cute outfit for the girls, whatever it may be. Great, you're taking care of your kids. What about the people that stop and they spend their money on something like a chicken sandwich at 7-Eleven, or they stop and they buy something that they don't really need. These spending patterns show up time and time again, and when we ask ourselves, do we really need it? The answer is a lot of times no. You know, when I look at things that I actually need, it's actually very few things. There's that George Clooney movie that it has that. He fits everything he needs in his backpacks. That was his big thing. Uh, could you live off everything in just a backpack? And that really stuck with me because I truly think that if people lived off the smallest amount of things that they need, uh, a lot of the financial problems that we see would be healed. Now, I'm not one to just blindly tell everybody, hey, go get a budget and work on it. No, I know it's much different. Some people are not like that. Some people don't want to see the money. Well, talk about money. And some people are very vigilant, want to track every item. Some people need to buy love by giving money to people for presents and gifts. Others, it's a point of status. They need to spend on that new Rolex to show off, fulfill their status that they need, that they desire. And there's no judgments on anyone, but these are all spending patterns that we all have or have traits of and can manage. So in the next episode, I'm going to talk about those four money types. Uh, we'll talk about the four personality traits and where you may lie. Stay tuned for more.